The Australian-American Association, Northern Territory Division, is very active. It maintains a full calendar of regular and one-off events. These events assist in strengthening the relationship between Australia and the United States of America. Military ties between Australia and America have always been strong. Based on trust and shared social values, they continue to provide benefits to both countries. The Northern Territory was Australia's frontline when the first Japanese attack on Australian soil took place in Darwin on the 19th of February 1942. This attack was conducted by the same fleet and aircraft that had attacked Pearl Harbor just 2.5 months prior. More US military personnel died in defence of Australia that day than Australians. The single greatest loss of life was of sailors aboard the USS Perry.
Prime Minister, the Honourable
For over 20 years, the Australian-American Association has held a memorial service to commemorate the sinking of the USS Perry and to remember all those whose actions helped defend Darwin and Australia. A week before the bombing of Darwin, American Airman Lieutenant Robert Blackie Buell was lost on patrol. Blackie is believed to be the first to give his life in the direct defence of Australia. Lieutenant Robert Blackie Buell and all the American airmen who died in the defence of Darwin are remembered in this memorial service held on the 19th of February each year. Here are some scenes from the 2012 70th anniversary service.
In early 1942, our nation had been engaged in hostilities for 2.5 years, but this was the moment the reality of war hit home. February 19, our day of infamy, Australia's Pearl Harbor.
Thank you all for joining us here to commemorate an event of special importance in the shared history of our two nations. I especially want to thank Rick Setter and the Australian-American Association for organizing this commemoration. You, in particular, have kept the flame alive all these years, honoring and reminding all of us what took place out in the waters of Darwin Harbor just 70 years ago.
In 2011, President Obama visited Darwin and the USS Perry Memorial to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the ANZUS Alliance.
I know that you all have a great Australian cheer. I want to hear it. So let me say first, Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
The Australian-American Association Northern Territory Division conducts other regular events. These include the Battle of the Coral Sea commemoration, 4th of July Independence Day celebrations, and a Halloween party held in association with the City of Darwin Anchorage Sister City Committee. The 4th of July Independence Day celebrations are usually celebrated with the US Marine Corps personnel stationed at Robertson Barracks. We also provide important community support for the US Marine deployment in Darwin. Regular social events are held with the US personnel. Association members host Marines on day trips and other outings. As a local community organisation, the Association is able to publicly voice support for the US Marine deployment in Darwin. Darwin is a multicultural and cosmopolitan city. The Australian-American Association is a strong contributor to the diversity of the city and participates in many municipal events. One such event was the recent visit of the Japanese destroyer Hatakaze. The service was held on board the destroyer to commemorate all those lives lost in the waters in and around Darwin, both Japanese and Allied. As Australians and Americans remember the loss of the USS Perry, so the Japanese continue to remember the sacrifice of 80 sailors on the Japanese submarine I-124, which was sunk by the Royal Australian Navy a month before the bombing of Darwin. Submarine I-124 continues to lie as a war grave, a few miles to sea from the mouth of Darwin Harbour. The Australian-American Association NT continues to maintain strong people-to-people links between our two great nations.